Hello everyone, my name is Brad Clark and today we're going to be reviewing a movie that came out this month, Weapons. Let's get started with the plot. So, when I first went into this movie, I thought it'd be a classic A to B plot, but the story is told through different perspectives and then it all converges at the end point to explain the story. It's told in a asymmetric angle, kind of similar to the movie Trick or Treat through different characters and their perspectives up until the end. Essentially, the short of it is Gladys shows up into town at Alex's parents' house, apparently has nowhere to go. She casts a magical spell that possesses his parents, sort of like a parasite, and tells him he has to find different, and tells him that he has to get all of his classmates over to the house, because the way I kind of see is she kind of feeds on the essence in order to stay alive, to stay youthful and strong. So at approximately 2:17 a.m., all the kids run to the house and go into the basement. And in the meantime, the parents accuse Justine of somehow knowing about some kind of plot or conspiracy about where the missing kids are. Josh Brolin's character Archer approximately pinpoints the exact location of the house. Meanwhile, the witch kind of discovers that she's being watched and people are coming after her. So she sends Marcus Miller against Justine, and then she tries to skip town, but Archer and Justine find the house and break the curse, and all the kids are recovered. Of course, there's some other plots in this, like Justine's character is kind of shown to be a very fundamentally flawed character. She's having a sexual relationship with Paul Morgan character. Apparently she had a DUI and was terminated from her last position. And she's not a very positive character in terms of like her background. She's not a very good character, at least in terms of her background. But ultimately at the end, I think she redeems herself by helping relocate the kids that had disappeared from her class with Archer, and sort of redeems herself in the end. Archer Graff's character, I would say, is my favorite character. He's played by Josh Brolin, which kind of surprised me, as to be fair, I wasn't really following this movie. Only the trailers, as I thought the trailer was really interesting. The marketing for it kind of reminded me of analog horror in terms of like security angles and stuff. I really like how smart he was in this movie, how he was able to pinpoint everything. But all the characters, I would say, were very, very, very fun. I really like Marcus Miller's character, who's played by Benedict Wong from, forgot his name, but he plays one of the characters in Doctor Strange and the Avengers movies. All the actors, I think, did a very fantastic job. In terms of the horror aspect of it, I was thinking initially when I went into this movie, it'd be much more jump scary. Like there'd be much more jump scares, but it wasn't really about that. It was more about the creepy ambiance, the sinister setting of like kids disappearing from a class. All around really sinister, the atmosphere all around it. All the performances, I would say, in this movie were pretty good. The only performance I wish we got more of was June Diane Raphael's character, Donna. Because when we first see Donna's character, we first think that she's one of the parents, and until it's revealed that it's actually Paul Morgan's wife, which, you know, it's a nice juxtaposition, kind of like like it shows you that not everything is as it seems in this movie. The one character I obviously hate in terms of like the character themselves is Gladys Lily. You know, she's a witch. No pun intended. It kind of foreshadows it. When I first went into the movie, I thought it'd be much more like supernatural, maybe Lovecraftian element behind it. Because I don't know why I thought this movie was a Stephen King book or somehow tied to it. It's not. Besides the 217 reference, Stephen King's not behind it. Although you could say it has Stephen King influences nonetheless. But like I said, the cinematography was really good, very unnerving. I also liked the use of comedy in this movie. Like towards the end, like I was kind of shocked. I was laughing. Like I was like, am I supposed to laugh at this? Like especially when the kid were able to break through the curse and chases Gladys Lily's character into houses, breaking through glasses and basically pulling her head off and ripping her to pieces, like a dog with maybe like a rabbit in its mouth kind of thing, or piranhas eating like a fish. This movie was pretty unexpected, as I knew it was gonna be good, but sometimes I had that thought in my back of my mind where I was like, is it gonna be good, or is the trailers overhyping it? Like, you know what I'm saying? But the directing, I would say, Zach Kranger's directing style, fantastic. I haven't seen Barbarian. He kind of explained it to me that Zach Krangers, he's also part of a comedy sketch club, and that's why there's a use of comedy and horror. And I thought that was a really interesting juxtaposition. Now, here's a theory, specifically Gladys. Now, in the movie, there's references to parasites. In a sort of way, I like to think of her like being a parasite, having to mooch off life in order to sustain herself and stay alive, like a tapeworm in the body. And in order to do so, she has to absorb life essence in a sort of way. And when she wears out her welcome, she goes to the next town. Good comparison in that sense is the drug addict character who asks for money in the beginning of the movie, and then of course like you see him later on like trying to steal stuff, like kind of like typical drug addict behavior in terms of like stealing stuff and just being selfish overall. This movie, I think, would say it surprised me in many ways, like in a good way, obviously. The use of comedy was very shocking, but like it was really funny. The cinematography and the directing was done very well. And I really like twists and turns in the story. And I really like Justine's redemption arc in the movie. And also the opening narration and ending narration was consistent. I think that's like something I really liked about this movie. And in terms of the rating I would give this movie, I would definitely rate this an 8 out of 10. There were some times it was a little bit jarring, some of the juxtaposition, editing could have been a little bit better. There were some parts in the story I was a little bit confused at, but overall I think this movie was very good for what it's worth, and it's making a lot of money, and I definitely think it's very well earned and deserved. But what would you rate this movie? Let me know in the comments section down below. Let me know your thoughts too. If you loved it, you hated it, and I'll see you soon.